Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 156th episode of Book of Hours, playing as the artist. And I think we're a little bit into spring now. I believe we have handled our latest visitor in terms of the affair of the Messenger's casket. I think we had Connie Lee who visited. I think it was Dr. Aaron Peel. I love his smile for his icon, by the way. But yes, I think it was Connie Lee who visited. I'm a little lost on why... Oh yes, now I remember. So we were working on Rights of the Roots, and this was a unique one. In fact, it makes me want to find my notes again, because we had a very specific set of conditions under which we could level that up. You know, the funny thing is, I've got a notebook in front of me, but I don't think it's the notes that I had before. Alright. If I have to write them out again, I have to write them out again, but I'm... what have I got here? So, Forge and Lantern, Edge and Forge, Scale and Moon, Forge and Moth. Here we go, Rights of the Roots. So I've got an Impulse, Earth Sign, Sun's Weakness, Name Day... Yes. Name Day Riddle, Scent, Old Moment, Rain, and Hive's Lament. Okay. So I'm going to quickly pause and unpause just so I can get an idea of what we're carrying over. So we are carrying the Old Moment, that's good. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8 that I'm going to need. So I don't think I have the Scent yet. That should be one that I work on right away. Yeah, there's a few other things that I'll want to pick up on my own, but right now, Rights of the Roots is the major goal. Are we bringing in Mrs. Kill? We are. We're also earning a bit of money. Okay, so the first thing I want to recognize is that Rights of the Roots is going to involve either a Moth or a Grail. Now, Trist is not a whole lot for me to give up, so I'm going to set that aside for leveling up Rights of the Roots. Out of the things that I need a Scent, and there's only one way for me to get that, and that's something that involves the consider verb, so we'll use our usual watchful potted plant with the Fet. Actually, I guess Fet also gives me Moth. Investigate the object. You won't use this up or consume it by doing this. So now we've got the Scent on the list. I'm actually going to take a minute here and put down some... Hold on. Okay. I thought I lost my writing implements. Okay, so we have a Hive's Lament, Rain, Old Moment. We're getting a Scent. Don't have a Name Day Riddle yet. Do have Sun's Weakness. Do have Earth Sign. Don't have an Impulse yet. So the next thing that I should be working on is that Name Day Riddle. Now, with that in mind, I actually don't have a memory to throw away yet. At least one that isn't valuable. So we'll wait until we get Mrs. Kill for that one. And I think I'm just gonna... Well, no, there's one last thing that I can do, and that's read a book. So our options here, assuming that we aren't already reading one, let me just double check that. So I should still try and get some things read. So we've got Advice on Containment, which is there's a Blake's work, or we've got the Sevenfold Slaying of the Seven Coiled. It is tempting to try and do a challenging work, but in this particular case, I think probably something a little more straightforward would be appropriate. So, in fact, we can use glass blowing and vessel crafting to... Oh, yes, and we're still working on the pumps, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Yeah, at Ambrose's desk, let's go for... I was hoping to avoid using the shaft, to be honest, but... Lockworks and Clockworks is my other option. I think I'm gonna have to give up one of the valuable ones, so well, that's fine. Ambrose's desk, Lockworks and Clockworks, and advice on containment. So one of the things I might want to keep an eye out for, yeah, actually, you know what? Instead of the sky, I should try and keep the things that, yeah, so you know, we'll use the FET in this case. So the reason why I changed it up was just I want to keep the things that will allow me to level up the glass blowing and vessel crafting on the odd chance we get lucky. So it's not that big of a change, but it's a slight efficiency that just lets me, you know, potentially get the most out of the day. So I am a match for this book, enough knock to match mystery knock. And for the rest, I'll just let it be. I'm sure I'll have some other things to do in a little bit, but I think right now the priority is going to be to create that name day riddle. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. Okay. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. And I have carried the memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come, and clearly I forgot about quenchings and quellings, so let's see what we're up against here. Actually, I have 2 sets of moth and nectar written down. Okay, fair enough. But surely I've got my tax information. Okay, my notebook's getting a little crowded here, but let's do a quick run on quenchings and quellings. So, I think probably the best way is for me to just go and cycle through the library again. Okay, Impulse, Moth, and Nectar. Satisfaction does actually give heart. I keep forgetting that one. Revelation is lantern only. Foresight, lantern and forge. Secret thresholds doesn't give heart or winter. Bittersweet certainty, same. Oh, bittersweet certainty gives winter. Regret also gives winter. Okay, we already covered foresight. We've covered regret. Hindsight. Intuition. Moon and rose, so not relevant here. Gossip is rose and grail, so not relevant. Fear, edge, and scale. Beguiling melodies is grail and sky. Contradiction, edge, and moon. Storm definitely helps. I'm also going to make a mark for the weather storm because you can have both. Salt, I can always get this one wrong. It's knock, moon, and I believe there is a winter to it. Pattern is knock and forge. Solace has heart. So that already gets me what I need, but I might as well be comprehensive. Savage Hymns gives me scale, which doesn't help. Cheerful Ditties helps. Confounding Parables doesn't help because it just adds sky to intuition, and then I think we already had Stolen Secrets. but I've got more than enough to work with. The ones that are unique to what I can get right now are Bittersweet Certainty, the Weather Storm, and Salt. So that's 3 out of 9, and I need 6. So the best way to handle this, in my opinion, is we'll set aside a core. We'll let the day sort of play out, and what have I got here? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I could actually just earn the memories right off the bat, but the hope here is that I'll be generating a lot of those through Mrs. Kill. And then, of course, we're sort of on the treadmill in terms of, memories, but that's fine because we're also kind of getting to the end of our list of things to do. Okay, so it's a full day. I do, again, at some point I kind of want to explore the skills that I have and also maybe start putting some things in the Tree of Wisdoms. But we've got quite a bit happening up to and including opening up some more rooms. So it's hard to say that we're not making progress in the game, and I don't necessarily have to have everything happen on one day. So I'm gonna let this play out, and then we'll kind of see where we're at once we get a little bit closer to summer. The sense of awareness persists, but the plant remains immobile, unsettling but harmless. Doesn't even have thorns. Scent. Green scents recall rain. I think some other things might be provoking thoughts of rain right now. Alright, satisfaction. So that is a bit of a double-edged sword for us because we are ultimately looking for something to use in a name day riddle, but satisfaction actually helps us with the quenchings and quellings. So there it is, and can be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Now, if it really comes down to it, I can... I can sacrifice something like the satisfaction for the name day riddle, but we've got plenty of time over the course of the day. I don't see a need to do that quite yet. Alright, we had so much fun with the pump that we've got another one. The lower pump room. The Curia installed these pumps when the lower levels of the Sisterhood's holy place were already dry. Why? What were they looking for? What lies beneath Brownkrug Isle that even the Sisterhood never found? So here we can try and go for the Fluttering Crypt. The darkness here beats with wings. Bats? Sound is more like birds, but there is a timpani quality that suggests more bones than feathers. One more step, and I sense the possibility of talons. So this is a 15 winter. Now, we do have... we already have a winter challenge in front of us, the Crystallized Chambers, so we're more likely to open this than anything else. We do actually have lower level pumps, so these machines are a different and newer manufacturer than the ones above. They include something like a generator too, but they're in even worse condition. I'll need to provide suitable materials and fuel, and I'll need scholar level forge to jury rig them. So, we do have the upper and lower level pumps, but the thing is right now we don't actually know what these pumps are for yet, so I'm just going to hang on to them. An afternoon spent profitably, reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, we're at a point here where I do actually want to do more with my elements of the soul, so I'm definitely restoring this, although I think I will just kind of cycle through on the sweet bones simply because I don't need the wisp until the end of the day, basically. So, right now I'm going to see what... Alright. I'm not complaining about the memories Mrs. Kill's given me, but it does, it keeps pushing back the name day riddle. I think if we get to midday, I may have to make the name day riddle, just for an insurance policy. It's nice to have so many memories that let us... Alright, second regret. In fact, at this point... Now, we'll give it one more cycle. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of nice that we're able to take advantage of so many things that Mrs. Kill can give us, but The goal is Rites of the Roots because we can't control when rain comes. Better now. Okay, I'm still going to use the Whist. Remembering that the Whist is currently... Actually, I guess I set aside a core, but basically the Whist is the thing that will allow me to level up Quenchings and Quellings when the time comes. So I'm not in a... Like, I'll want to have that at the end of the day, but I'm not in a rush to use it right away. Alright, advice on containment. Thirza Blake discusses ways to keep wood things out of trouble and mantis things in it. Thirza is irritatingly light on specifics, insisting above all that the duties of an adept are the duties of a host, and that a conjured spirit should be kept in as luxurious a vessel as possible. Thirza notes the similarities between the lantern-long habit of scrying, returning to the physical world despite their absence of a body by entering a mirror or light, and Pomander's techniques of confining Mantis Long to mirrors. She wonders whether Pomander himself might be lured to visit Hush House if provided with a sufficiently alluring scrying. I've been occasionally looking to see if there's something I can find about the idea of Pomander actually arriving in Hush House. I don't think I found anything definitive on that, but I am interested in that possibility, let's say. We're also starting to run out of room for some of my favorite topics. Okay, so again, another thing for us to work with. Glass blowing and vessel crafting won't be an easy one to level up, so this might be an example of something where I'd be willing to sacrifice the pattern just because, well, maybe I should be more willing to give up the regret, although the pattern isn't something I need right away. But I think our priority is going to be Quenchings and Quellings and then glass blowing and vessel crafting, mostly just because the metal's already been handled, but I don't know, we'll see. Let's see what Mrs. Kill gives us. A gossip. Okay, so gossip doesn't help us for any of our goals right now, so it's good that I waited. I'll have another chat with Mrs. Kill. And with the gossip, let's say... I believe it's the dispensary, that's my usual... Oh, right. I don't get to pick just anything, but I think St. Januarius helps us out on this one. So now I just need an element of the soul. I was originally going to give up the... Oh, actually, we can give up Tryst with the devotion, so knit memories into certainty. Preliminal meter with scholar level knock plus memory creates a curious hunch. Well, that would have been very bad. So it must be Edict's Liminal I was thinking of. There's the name day riddle. Conceive a mothy riddle. Edict's Liminal with scholar level moth plus memory creates a name day riddle. Okay, so I'm still waiting on the impulse, but we can do that closer to the end of the day. Yeah, I think at this point, probably... I do want to review these books because I haven't really been considering inks for inputs to reading these, but given that I've got 3 skills to level up, it's probably not a bad idea for me to just cool it for a bit and see what the other possibilities are. Okay, again, Mrs. Kill's really delivering for Quenchings and Quellings. Their tizen can be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in their accent now. So there is a little bit of a shame that we're using both glass blowing and vessel crafting and Quenchings and Quellings because they don't seem like they would be related. Oh, hang on. For some reason, I seem to be mistaking this as a forge one. It's actually knock and sky. So the regret is a common point, but a few of these other ones, I have the wrong impression. Anyways, we are pursuing a few too many improvements right now, which is fine. We don't have to do it all in one day, but I just want to make sure that I'm being thoughtful. Excuse me, in terms of where I put the different memories. Okay, we will continue to restore our whist. Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal and a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. It is spring, and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie, with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. Okay. This is same satisfaction as before, but again, we don't know what comes up. So it's, you know, the thing that's always tough for me is I'm very good at reflecting after the fact, you know, what I could have done differently. But that's probably not the most helpful way of thinking about these things. You know, generally I want to say, okay, you know, I couldn't know that we'd get a second satisfaction, so I shouldn't beat myself up for not using that satisfaction earlier. I should probably think about getting the impulse. If we don't get an impulse on this 2-second one, I'll start reading the book. Okay, is this the way to the wood? But perhaps the wood is not a suitable place for a librarian. Let's just double check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So impulse is the last one that I need. We've got gossip, so that doesn't actually go anywhere right now. So let's go to Ava's desk with the Arab, and we'll grab an impulse. Which one of these do I want? Let's do the Damascene Traditions of the House of Leith. I've already mastered this, but I could perhaps could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. So that's going to take us a minute. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to try and queue a few of these things up in time is that we're going to get to the afternoon, and that's really going to be the, okay, you got to get the memories that you need point. So for that, I'll probably go for like Salt, a Storm. There's a few that I can use that will still give me options with Mrs. Kill, but realistically, I'm looking to put 3 elements of the soul to work here. And that'll also apply to the winter that I'm restoring. Better now. Yeah, let's give it the 8 seconds, and then I'll allocate my elements of the soul as required. Figure it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more time for restoring things. Perfect. All right. So let's say, what do I want to do here? Again, we'll talk with Mrs. Kill. So I just need 2 for the... Okay, actually, let's think about this in terms of numbers. So if I were to put the shaft down here, so I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 available. We're 1 short. Oh no, actually, Blast Flowing and Vesselcraft. Let me just double check this. Okay, so we need 2 more for Quenchings and Quellings. So let's just say that the Whist is taken care of there. Yeah, and then we need 3. Okay, so this is going to get a little dicey, but let's see what we can do here. So, Salt is kind of tempting because that works for glass blowing and vessel crafting. Like, that works for both of them. So that now goes from, let's not risk it, to, okay, this is actually an interesting one. Let's do to a Pale Lady. I will definitely bring in the store. Oh! I actually made life a little more difficult for myself here, but I will still bring in the Storm. And then... Oh! Yeah! So next, I'm also going to bring in the music. I think the one problem here is that I actually don't have enough time to handle all of these. But given the fact that there are these sky elements, the silly thing is I think I can actually just do a bunch of music and I'm like ready to go. So we'll go to Caller's desk with Savage Hymns. And we'll just try to bang out as many of the levels as I can. And that one needs Sabazine. And of course, Mrs. Kill may still assist us with additional memories. So yeah, not quite how I was planning on the end of the day going, but you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we still need to wait for the impulse. So 18 seconds. We're pretty close. We might actually be able to get everything in today after all. Damascene traditions of the House of Leith. The House of Leith was an order of immortals who sought obscurity, rejecting their past and future. If the author of this short text is to be believed, the initiates of the Damascene branch were much more radical than their fellows elsewhere. The house generally forbade any potentially procreative activities for fear of the terrible consequences of too long bearing a child. The Damascene order took this much further. At one point, male initiates were required to undergo castration and female initiates to strangle any children they had previously born. These measures were so horrific that the order was shaken by repeated schisms and eventually absorbed into the local Sisterhood of the Knot as a society of healers and exorcists. Okay, so in 0.3 seconds, we want to get going on Rites of the Roots. That's the absolute top priority for today. The thread parts, the weave is empty, the skies cry out. And another satisfaction from Mrs. Kill. Their tizen can be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. So, let's get leveled up. We're going to be pretty dry at the end of, the end of today or the start of tomorrow. We're going to be spending a lot of time rebuilding the memories, but that's good because in theory we'll have, like, it's a blank slate in terms of the books that we're reading and the memories that or the skills that we're trying to improve. So there's always more to learn. Improve the skill to level 9. So that's 30 seconds. So quenchings and quellings, satisfaction, regret, hindsight, solace, storm. Keeping in mind that a lot of the sky stuff here could easily be used for easily be used for quenchings and quellings as well, and that's kind of by design at this point. Now again, I'm going to focus on quenchings and quellings, but I have my outside option of glass blowing and vessel crafting. Also, I have no idea why gossip is here. I was trying to think if there was a way for me to get the sweet bones as part of the cycle again, but I don't think so. Like, unless I give up on trying to pursue these two skills, I think I may have to give one up in order to level everything up. But honestly, giving up an element of the soul so that I can have more options the next day, that seems like a good trade-off. To a Pale Lady, a collection of Franklin Bancroft's letters to Ava DeWolf. There is a substantial body of erotic pleading and half-finished poetry, but also learned discussions on matters mythical and marine, as well as notes towards a comic opera on which Franklin and Ava were apparently collaborating. Do not return, O my light, to the sea. None of us can be what we were. That is history's curse. None of us know what we may be. That is history's gift. Your mothers and the mothers of your mothers are caught in eternity's jaws like a robe hem in a trap. It is the pearl that shines, but the tide that returns. So we do have the winter from Salt. Perugian Diaries. In 1907, at the age of 18, Christopher Lopoli left Strathcoyne's household to study theology at the University of Perugia in Italy, enrolling under the name Christopher Strathcoyne. For 4 years, since his adoption from a Bristol orphanage, Lopoli served as Strathcoyne's pupil and protege, but his relationship with this austere and secretive man was always complicated. His journal confides, "I think Fraser's intentions are good, certainly he agrees, but I never understood the final goal of his investigations. He was never prepared to enlighten me, and good intentions or not, I can no longer bear this dream of eyes. We have agreed to part almost amicably." Lopoli left Perugia in 1909 without completing his degree. He had long lost interest in his studies, and the latter half of his journal is concerned with his studies of Umbrian folk songs and notes towards his own compositions, which are of widely varying quality. One of the better ones, In the Marshes of Night, suggests he visited the site of the old Lake Fucinus near Ortuccio. So there's a cheerful ditty. Again, this doubles up for glassblowing and vessel crafting. In fact, I think I'm one short. Knowing what I know now, I think I'm one short for what we need for glassblowing and vessel crafting. But again, we'll push ahead. The Intimations of Skin, fiendishly complex, weirdly distorted illustrations of Congress and anatomy by the haunted visionary painter Niels Friedrich Malsker. Malsker illuminates the evolutions of the names of the Grail with unfortunate clarity. It seems that a lovely who consumes an ivory becomes an ivory, a lovely who consumes a thirstly becomes a thirstly, a lovely who consumes a name of another hour may take its place. In the penultimate illustration, a lovely grapples with a fungoid knot that can only be a name of the crown growth. The lovely's mouth and other portals gape wide, and the growth name is already partially engulfed, but it seems that Malsker couldn't bring himself to illustrate the result, and the final illustration is only a scrawled, bloated obscurity. And unhatched hymns attributed to St. Lucia the Eyeless, patron of glassworkers and name of the hour called Meniscate. The hymns venerate every sanctioned hour, celebrating them as the sun undivided, but also suggesting that each hour may become the next, madrigad to watchman, watchman to wolf, and so on. The hymn of the phases celebrates the Meniscate from whom we do not turn, for the truth which is beauty, the beauty which is truth, and the perfect balance between the two. The hymn of the reflections, more puzzlingly, celebrates the Meniscate as sister of Janus, mother of sorrow, whose visage wondrous in emptiness can reveal all truths. Music that urges valor and violence. We'll put that beside, actually we'll also put Beguiling Melody there, because these are all options for quenchings and quellings, but the others are not. And in 0.2 seconds, we'll see what we have to work with. The skill is now level 9. Its power aspects have also increased. Rites of the Roots. The oldest hours are the gods from blood who rose from sacrifice. And that blood is always spilt on the roots, and the rites of its spilling are still remembered. There it is in Camino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Now, I got a little lucky here, because I can actually employ all of this towards quenchings and quellings, and there is a possibility here that I actually get to use this solace twice. So let's be careful, because this could be the difference between me getting 2 or just the one. Although again, it's hard to complain about how today went. So quenchings and quellings. Lesson, we put in core for effort. So satisfaction has Grail as its alternative, so that one goes in for sure. Regret, we don't have Forge, so that one goes in. Likewise, Hindsight is only Winter. Now, Solace could be doubled, but we know we're getting this one, which we'll put on glassblowing and vessel crafting, so we're definitely putting that in. And the last question here is, what do I do with the remaining 2? So these are all my options. I might take the wormwood. Actually, I should probably take the... That can't be right. Why does the old wound... Oh, because the old wound has winter. I didn't even think of that. I always look at the first 2 and I never pay attention to the rest. I should definitely be willing to spend that then. But let's just make sure that what I'm talking about is realistic here. So Cheerful Ditty is technically something that I might be able to give up for both. But let's say that if I work with what I've got here, so glass blowing and vessel crafting, again, that would require 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I actually already have enough. So we use the salt in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pattern has knock. Savage Hymn has sky. Beguiling Melody has sky. Solace has sky. We can verify that with this one. Storm has sky. Okay. Then yes, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't try this. So when I thought I understood, I'd only begun. So again, the potential drawback here is that we will start leveling up. We'll start leveling up glass blowing and vessel crafting, but we won't have it by the end of the day, at which point we lose the shaft for the day. Well, we need to earn it back is what actually happens. But again, it's I think that's a small price to pay, to be completely honest. And I know I'm a little bit over, but well, there's actually 2 advantages. One, I started some laundry at the beginning of the episode, and I noticed that the timer is always just a little bit longer than, the timer is always a little bit shorter than the actual cycle. And then number 2, it's nice to get the day's tasks done. Okay. So I lost a fraction of a second because I was too slow on the space, but let's see if we can make this happen. So quenchings and quellings, arts which quench fires and bring solace to the troubled mind. A true adept is never troubled by fire, nor by fever, nor by restless spirit. Ambrose Westcott. Okay, so glass blowing and vessel crafting, we bring in the usual suspect. Well, not usual suspects, but we bring in the items we earned. At last, I'm something of an authority in this. And we'll see whether the 30 seconds are done in time. Oh, I can actually also bring the gossip overnight with me in the violet chamber. No waste! Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. Yeah, not even close, but still worth it. So yeah, we're down an element of the soul, but look, I mean, this is a good day for us. We're a little bit over halfway through spring. As far as the works, so what I've got on the shelf right now in terms of things that I seemed to think were possible, Sevenfold Slaying of the Seven Coiled, almost certainly that's attached to Sickle and Eclipse, and I'm sure there's another, like, there's got to be some high-level edge thing that I thought I would be able to employ towards it. But so we have that. I think at Tower Rises I just put where it is here because I didn't like have anything else. This one I'm a little bit less worried about reading because we've got preliminal meter already, so there's going to be a couple questions in terms of just what I use to try and level this thing up. I suppose it would be nice to try and get a higher level rose, like to get something at level 10. This might even just go into Inks of Power, to be honest. But yeah, this is not a major priority. Pretty much everything on the shelves here are high level items, right? 18 and so on and so forth. Actually, I think 14 is the lowest level. Lots of 16s. And again, I'm pretty sure that if I take a look at the various Newman that I have, inside of the books, I should probably have an idea or two about where where my future research can go. But this is also one of those cases where I might want to say, okay, how much work is it going to take me to try and read some of these books here? Is this the most important thing that I could be doing? And if the answer to that is no, there's a few things. So one, we're talking about unearthing one of the books with one of the secrets of the house. We do have the crystallized chamber. We might have the honeyed forbidding. I guess the storm's still my best heart to put towards that. But anyways, I'll think about that later. And then, actually, yeah, there's probably a whole set of things for me to talk about in terms of the different rooms that I can access. But again, the main focus has been, as much as I can, to try and take on the big books so that I can get the skills which would be used to build the things that allow me to go deeper inside the house. But we're at the point now where I probably have a couple of things that I can use to travel around the house, and I may want to reconsider where I'm at in terms of the various activities I've been up to. But all of that will be handled in a future episode. Thank you everybody for watching. The plan is still to have the regular Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so tomorrow's episode, or there won't be an episode tomorrow as usual. I do have one of my old profs is in town on Wednesday, which shouldn't affect the recordings for these, but if I do wind up interrupted in terms of recordings, I suspect probably I'm going to be a little pressed for any of the other ones. Anyways, it's fair to say, expect the usual rotation. I should be recording those in a few minutes, but anyways, I'm going to shut up and let you get on to the next one. See you then.